In front of a grand five-star hotel, where shining cars line the driveway and elegantly dressed guests walk through the glass doors, sat a beggar. Every day, from sunrise to sunset, he stayed in the same spot beside the entrance. He watched people arrive in luxury cars, wearing expensive clothes, holding confidence in their steps, a life that seemed far beyond his reach. All he hoped for was a few coins, enough to silence his hunger for another day. One afternoon, a sleek black car stopped in front of the hotel. From it stepped a tall, confident businessman, dressed in a fine suit and holding a briefcase. The beggar looked at him and thought, "This man must be rich. Maybe he'll give me something." He stretched out his hand and said softly, "Sir, please spare some change." The businessman stopped and looked at him for a moment. Then, with a calm but serious tone, he asked, "Tell me something. You sit here every single day, outside this beautiful hotel, watching people go in and out. But have you ever once thought about going inside and eating here?" The beggar stared at him, confused. "Eat here? Sir, how could I? This place is for rich people. I'm just a beggar." The businessman smiled slightly and said, "That's exactly the problem. You've been sitting here for years, but your mind never once stepped inside. You think you don't belong here, and that's why you never will. If you believe you have nothing to give, then you'll always stay outside waiting. Life doesn't reward those who only ask. If you want to receive, you must first learn to give." With those words, he turned and walked through the grand glass doors into the hotel. That night, the beggar couldn't sleep. The businessman's words kept echoing in his head. "You've been here every day, but your mind never stepped inside." He had never thought of it that way before. Maybe the reason he was still poor wasn't just because he had no money, but because he had never believed he could have more. The next morning, as he sat outside the hotel again, he noticed something he had always ignored: a small garden beside the entrance, full of colorful flowers. Guests often smiled as they passed by it. A thought crossed his mind: what if I offer these flowers to people when they help me? He gently picked a few fallen flowers and arranged them neatly. That day, when a kind woman dropped a few coins into his bowl, he smiled and handed her a flower in return. The woman looked surprised, then smiled warmly and said, "Thank you. That's beautiful." From that day on, everything changed. The beggar no longer just waited for coins, he gave something back. People began to notice him more. They smiled, talked to him, and gave him more generously. He realized something powerful. When you give, people respond with warmth. When you only take, they move away. Weeks passed, and one afternoon, the same businessman returned to the hotel. The beggar, now holding a small basket of flowers, approached him with confidence. "Sir," he said proudly, "today I have something to give you." The businessman smiled, took a flower, placed some money in his bowl. "You've learned the truth," he said. "You're no longer a beggar, you're a businessman. You give value, and people give back in return." Those words changed everything. The beggar stopped calling himself poor. Every morning, he collected fresh flowers and sold them to hotel guests and passers-by. Soon, he earned enough to buy a small cart. Within months, he opened a flower shop and began supplying flowers to the very hotel where he once sat begging. One evening, the businessman arrived at the hotel again for a meeting. As he walked to the entrance, he stopped by a beautiful flower stall filled with fresh blooms. Behind the counter stood a man, neatly dressed and smiling proudly. The businessman recognized him instantly. "Wait," he said, "aren't you the beggar who used to sit here?" The man smiled and replied, "Yes, that was me. But the day you asked me why I never thought of eating here, my life changed. I realized poverty isn't in the pocket, it's in the mind. The moment I believed I could be more, everything began to change." That is the true secret of success. It's not about luck, it's about mindset. Look at the world's most successful people. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey. None of them were born rich. They faced rejection, failure, and doubt. But they all shared one thing: they thought differently. Elon Musk didn't wait for someone to build the future, he imagined it and created it. Bill Gates didn't just dream about computers. He gave his time, energy, and ideas to change how the world works. Every successful person begins with the courage to give effort, to give creativity, to give value. And life always gives back to those who give first. If you believe you're meant to stay outside, you'll never step in. But if you believe you belong inside, if you see yourself as strong, capable, and worthy, then life will open its doors for you. Because when your thoughts change, your future changes too. So, don't sit outside your dreams. Stand up, take action, and give something to the world: your kindness, your ideas, your hard work. Life will reward you in ways you never imagined. If this story touched your heart, give it a thumbs up. Comment what you learned, like and share it with someone who needs hope today. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring life stories. See you in the next story.